Leanne Dalzell.
Mr Chairman, I want to respond to the Minister's, the Member and the Chair's response to my... No, not yet.
In the Bridges Cabinet.
I think we'll be waiting some time for that to occur. No, he's only here for 3 years. But the point is that this is his one big moment in time where he's got a bill in front of the House where he's managed to persuade his colleagues to vote for it, even though it's stupid, and even though the Minister of Justice would have nothing to do with it. Even though the Minister of Justice would have nothing to do with it. It's an electoral law reform bill, and it got sent to the Law and Order Committee. Why did it get sent to the Law and Order Committee? It only deals with offences that are under 3 years, because everything over 3 years is already covered by existing laws. So it was political puffery right from the very start. It was nothing more than that. But what kind of offends me even more than all of this is that I asked a whole lot of sensible questions and he answered not one. The first question I asked wasn't how many people were in prison at the moment. I know the answer to that question. I asked how many of them voted at the last election while they were in prison, because the member doesn't know the answer to that. Perhaps he could just nod or shake his head. Maybe I could engage with him a little bit. A bit of eye contact would be useful. No, he's not really listening, is he? But never mind. I did try. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I've been asking this question all the way along, which is simply this. Unless we know how many people are actually voting when they're in prison, and that will only be the people who have under 3 years. So it isn't 8,000 people at all, Mr Quinn, as that member knows. It's got nothing to do with that. The answer to the question I'm looking for is how many people were eligible to vote and how many actually exercised that vote. Does he know the answer to either of those questions? It appears not. So that's a shame. He's not able to answer that question. And the second question wasn't what mischief this bill did, because that's actually perfectly plain on the face of it. It was what mischief was it designed to remedy. And without knowing how many people actually exercise their right to vote at the moment while they're in prison, which are only people who are in prison for less than 3 years, then why... tell me what it is about the current law that needs to be remedied by this bill. Because it seems to me that it's not much. That we don't even know how many people actually vote when they're in prison now, when they're there for less than 3 months offending. We've had examples of the sorts of crimes, and we've had all sorts of umbrage taken in this House. And in fact, I think I heard some members of the other side of the House say that this was an issue where we were on the side of the criminals. Well, I've never really understood that taking away a person's right to vote was somehow being on the side of criminals. But that's okay. We've had the odd criminal in here too. There are some people who've been on the receiving end of fraudulent behaviour when certain documentation's been signed by certain ministers acting in their private capacity, but we won't go into that one there either, but maybe we could. That member should talk to the New Zealand citizen.
Order. Point of order, the Honourable Tauhanari.
Mr Chair, point of order. The point of order is that earlier on the Speaker of the House ruled out any of that sort of accusation on a Minister of the Crown, and that's what my point of order is, sir. You cannot, just can't allow her...
Thank you. I hear them what the member's saying. Just ask members in the future just to be very mindful of the previous rulings. Honourable Leanne Dalzell.
Mr Chairman, what I was saying was that there are people who've been on the receiving end of criminal activity, fraudulent activity that has implications for their lives, and it's been endorsed by people that you would expect to see better from. But anyway, that's another particular case, and it will keep, because individuals who've been affected by that particular behaviour will be speaking out, I'm sure, in due course. Mr Chairman, the point that I'm making is this, is that the other question that he failed to answer was, what mischief was this designed to remedy, and what about the differential between people who are in prison the day of the election but are let out the following Monday, and somebody who was let out the day before? Because we've had all sorts of umbrage, as I was saying before, in the House taken about the sorts of criminals that we're talking about. Criminal nuisance. You could be in jail for criminal nuisance on the day of the election, and this is going to affect that. And I don't understand why we are talking about serious offences when serious offences are already covered.
I call Raymond Ho.